Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day, Lord, that you give us. We thank you for the breath of life you put in us, Father. I ask you to touch our hearts, our minds, our body, Father. Put the thoughts in our mind, and the words in our mouth. We give you the glory. We give you the honor for everything you give us. In Jesus' name.
Amen. And I'll call to order the Swain County regular session, September 17th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. Gunner, you lead us in our pledge, sir.
Basic colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Is there any adjustments to the agenda? Nope. Administrative reports, tax collector report.
I'll be reading that tonight. So for August of 2024, you'll see at the top your total budgeted receivables, $6,640,000. Your total ad valorem and fees year to date is $1,943,803.32. Total waste fee collections year to date, $291,619.63. And then total revenues collected year to date, $2,282,357.06, for a percentage collected at 34.37%. You will see down below that what years have been collected and what amounts, as well as interest collected, penalties, any write-offs, and then at the very bottom is your waste fee monthly collection, as well as your county vehicle tax monthly collection.
Any questions on this? Can I get a motion to accept this?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll say.
Make a motion to accept the
A second.
treasurer's report.
Got a motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor, please raise your right hand. Pass unanimous. Public comments? Miss Ellen Snodgrass? You know the rules. I won't read them, so.
So this is about Fontana Regional and also about the library project. So as y'all are aware, the Fontana Regional Board did pass unanimously the agreement that you all and Jackson had previously passed and signed. Macon's meeting was also last Tuesday. It was not on their agenda. There are a few items left to align FRL bylaws with the agreement, like such as the appointments, a couple of other term limits, a few things like that. So we went ahead and had the discussion at our meeting about those agreements, about those parts of the agreement, so that if the agreement does go forward, that is what we have to do is talk about it and then vote at the next meeting. So we're prepared to vote whenever that occurs, should that happen. We had already amended our bylaws back in July for public comment. So we had our comment in September, and it went well. We were at just for your information, we were at the new location for the Nantahala Library. It used to be in a trailer behind the school, and this is a general store that was renovated, and it's half community club and half Nantahala Library. So still small, but very nice. It's kind of near the fire department, White Oak Lane, I think, and Wya. So we have 6 libraries and we meet 6 times. So we travel around to the different libraries. So this was the time to make the drive to Nantahala. And but in November, this is Bryson's month. So our meeting is Tuesday, November 12th at 4 p.m. And it should be able to be at the library. It may be a kind of a side door kind of an entrance thing, but at any rate, you're of course absolutely welcome to come. And we hope that you would. Regarding the library project, we had we put out the RFQ. We had 3 requests for information. However, only 2 submitted applications. So we have to re-advertise. It's exactly similar to the bid process. We have to re-advertise a minimum of 7 days, beginning with next Thursday's paper. And we'll use the message boards, and we'll do exactly what we did before to do that. So if that happens, depending on what happens there, again, it's the same as the other. If we get 1 or none, what we have now, we're fine to go with because we've done it twice. We found out a lot of companies like to do the negotiated contracts, and they don't like to do the public bid type thing. So that was kind of interesting information. We submitting a grant this Thursday to the Cannon Foundation for $150,000. We've had several meetings with them. Jeff and I have done the groundwork. It's a application that comes from y'all, and so it's in Lottie's hands to look it over. It's just basic information that they're requesting, and then they'll come for a site visit. They are asking for an MOU. Basically, what they're asking for, it's like, we're going to give you $150,000. We want to know you're still going to be there in 5 years or something like that. So it's not that complicated, really, but Lottie has known this and is working with Kim on this. We can go ahead and submit this week, but we would need your vote in October to be able to go forward with this particular cycle. So that's just yet to come. And just briefly, we really want to keep y'all up to date like this on the project. Public comment seems kind of maybe not the right place to do it. So we were requesting your consideration for to be an agenda item at your workshop for a brief update. So just let us know if y'all think that sounds like a good idea. And that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all public comments. We'll move on down to voting items. And first up is the EMS request. You guys want to come on up?
Yes.
Yeah, we all got.
Basically, what's in that request there, the creation of 4 24-hour-a-day supervisors to cover the shifts. There'll be a little bit of a budget amendment needed from the commissioners in order to backfill those people that I'll be moving into those supervisor spots. Most of the money I've been able to come up with to support this simply by cutting out their overtime. They're scheduled so much overtime now that, and once they're moved into these positions, they'll be overtime exempt. That's that money that's already been budgeted that will almost 90% support this request. Total being about $175,000 to do what we're looking at doing, with a budget amendment of probably maybe 125 to 100.
Yeah, you want to talk about this sometime?
And I was going to say, I'm just prefacing this from at our work session. Jason came and spoke to us about his concern about EMS and what had happened. So I had a meeting with both Brandon and James and asked them to try to come up with a plan, what they felt would help their department. And so what they felt would be most necessary is to take those people with lots of experience and put someone overseeing these people. So right now there's not a shift supervisor all the time, 7 days a week. So this would allow for that. This would put someone with lots of experience as a paramedic, knowing how to run a scene when a call is made, to just make sure that those people, even 4, 5, 6 years, you may just not have that experience. So to make sure that these people know how to walk through those situations. So it's a lot as hands-on training as well. So that was what they came up with. We talk generalized numbers, but we can get a more specific number that would actually have to be amended to make this work for their department.
Anybody got any questions? If you could come up with like a number, then we can bring it back up in our work session.
Okay.
And then if we fill that out in a work session, we'll shift it on over into a general session. So you think this is?
I think it's necessary. There's not an EMS service in Western North Carolina that I'm aware of that does not have shift supervisors 24 hours a day, aside from us. The reason for that being is, there's a shortage of paramedics. They turn them out of school as fast as they can. They work a couple of years and then move on to something else. So they're not really building the experience. One of the problems is your experienced people go where the money is. Naturally, everybody does. And we just don't, our base starting salary, and that's something to examine at a later date, but our base starting salary is not enough to recruit and retain those experienced medics that are out there. So, this is the necessary step, taking the people that we have and putting them in those supervisory roles to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Okay. Anybody got anything? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you guys coming. Next up is the TDA MOU.
So you all remember we discussed this in the work session. So what was changed in the MOU was in yellow. There was a few things that there was some concern brought up and things that we didn't care for that was written in it. So as you'll see on that number 3, I just marked out where the concern was about if the aquarium or fly fishing museum are unable to continue in operation, the TDA will continue to have the option to operate other functions. So they have, what is in blue highlighted is what they've come back with. So in the event either aquarium or fly fishing museum are unable to continue in operation, TDA will continue to have the option to operate other tourism related functions from either building. So we marked it out. They asked to put the same thing back in.
Okay.
The other,
exactly the same.
yeah, the other was about the repairs. So on the second page, very last one on C. So it was, what they had originally said was major repairs exceeding the threshold of 5,000 will be split 50-50 between Swain County and Swain County TDA. And then all repairs for the property named within this MOU will be a responsibility of Swain County TDA. So what they came back with, because there was a concern about the split 50-50, was that all repairs for the property named Swain County Visitor Center and Heritage Museum will be the responsibility of Swain County. And all repairs of the property named Fly Fishing Aquarium and Fly Fishing Museum will be the responsibility of Swain County TDA.
Any questions on this?
Mr. Chairman, it seems like we're getting a worse deal than we had before we marked it out. Very same thing, in event either an aquarium or fly fishing, they want to continue operating ever what they wanted. And basically, the last, it's the citizens of Swain County be responsible for all the repairs. I believe maybe TDA may have a control of enough of our stuff in our county. I would be for this.
Anything, Philip? He was there.
Well, I was at the meeting and what they understood was, they didn't county didn't like the splitting the $5,000, anything over $5,000, 50/50. Everybody likes half money or matching money. So then they decided that they would, the motion was made and seconded by the board, that they would maintain and keep and maintain those buildings that TDA money paid for, which were the Fly Fishing Museum and the aquarium. And they would maintain them and operate them, and then they felt like that gave them the right to do, if those activities flopped at those locations, that they could use the buildings for different tourism attractions. And that's what was discussed. I think, and of course, Mr. Parton's absent this evening, but I think he brought up, that he didn't like the idea of having to share anything over $5,000, that TDA ought to maintain everything. But TDA didn't see it that way, and this is what they come back with. I'm like Mr. Loftus. I think we should have stuck with the first agreement and went on, but I don't know how we rebut this, or how we, if y'all have something you want to send back to them and see if they'll accept that, that'll be fine. I don't know. I did entertain to them, would they consider doing 25/75 on that thing over $5,000? This is what they came up with.
It's mostly gonna be like HVAC,
Right.
major
Major expenses.
expenses, I think.
Now, at this point in time, they don't want those buildings to do anything other than what they're doing with them, as far as tourism dollars, building the aquarium and the other. They want to keep those going as long as possible and get as many visitors through there as possible. School classes and everybody else. So, it's a big asset to have that attraction for people to do while they're here, and to enjoy yourselves. But anyway, Mr. Chair, that was the gist of the conversation about that agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I think we may be letting the TDA have control of too much. They've got the old Inspiration Park, they're in control of it, how many years, 10?
They're not, that agreement didn't go through, so they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
Got to be careful, they probably got more money than we did. It's a county, TDA tax-wise, close to it. What'd you say?
Oh, I don't know anything about theirs. I don't listen to their meetings.
I say like the Fly Fishing Museum, if it was to not work anymore, we'd all have to come together to agreement to figure
Sure.
out what that would
And I
be.
think TDA board would want to
I mean,
consult with the county.
I think that's what I'd add in there, is that, if it don't work, then it goes back to consulting with the county on figuring out how to make it work. What goes in there next, because
I'm agreeing, I wasn't curious long as we had to say stuff.
that's what I'm saying, yeah,
Right.
on that part. Maybe we just write this up and send it back to them. That work.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think that's our next step, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
is to be able to go back with that and maybe talk about it at the next work session again.
Mr. Chairman, maintenance on some of those buildings are gonna be a little bit more than maintenance on the others.
Sure.
Some of them are gonna have a lot more age, and others, sounds like maybe
Oh,
we
yeah.
got the
You're
biggest and the
talking-
oldest.
You're talking about a building that's 6 or 7 years old, and the other one's 100.
120 probably. Anyway, yeah, when it does come to repairs, we got a building that's got a real old roof on it. They've got newer buildings, so it's not hard to
And-
repair, but
And like the HVAC systems in the museum, not the fly fishing museum.
Right, the
but
regular county museum.
county museum is way more expensive than the ones in the fly fishing museum. I promise you that.
Well, that's what I was noticing, that we're more responsible for
Yeah, it put us having a whole lot more
an
responsibility.
older property and a bigger property, and
Yeah.
well, I hope we can come to agreement, but I'm not sure that this is the right one. Do you feel like there's any motion, feel or movement on their part to negotiate one
I
way or
think
the
they
other?
would listen and maybe listen to what was originally proposed. Yeah, I think it could be rediscussed or whatever. With that being said, Mr. Chair, I'm for tabling this for
Okay, let's-
tonight and
let's
not
table
not
this.
voting on it.
I mean, it's no big hurry. We table it and bring it back up in our work session.
Talk about it again at the work session. That's my motion.
Yeah.
If you need that.
Yeah.
I'll second the table.
All in favor, please raise your right hand and table this. Yep. SEC board appointments.
So in your packet, you will see two forms for the SEC Board of Trustees. We have one additional, we appointed one. Last month, we have one additional appointment left. So the first one is Toby Allman, and the second one is Carol, and I'm sorry, I do not know how to pronounce Carol's last name. She has some stuff attached behind hers of different boards that she has served on. So it is just looking at those two, and if we want to vote to put one of them onto the Board of Trustees.
And this appointment is for a 4-year term.
Yeah.
You guys have any?
I'd put in form of a motion that we elect Toby Allman to serve on that board. Bryson City native, Swain County native, been here a long time, and I think he would serve well on that Southwestern Community College board.
Second, yes.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimous. Toby on. Animal Control Ordinance Committee appointments.
So in your packet, there is every form that has been turned in. So there is a listing of the people. You had some, there have been some new ones. And there may be, did you put the summary? There may or may not be a summary, but those are everybody that turned in a form for that committee.
Do we have a total? How many we've got?
17.
17?
Mhm.
Everybody wants to be on that board.
17, and we need to pass it.
5.
Mr. Chair, I just need to ask a question. Is this concerning the animal control ordinance, just the ordinance? Or what was the deliberation about why we're getting this board together? Or is this what the ordinance says that we're gonna need in the future with that program, is that board? In other words, I think people are misled or confused about what their function will be. Will they be the animal control board, period? Or will they be those folks that are overlooking the ordinance? Or is there any difference?
I think it's the same. That they're all, that
That's
they'll
the question that
sit on this
I
board.
was asked.
Yeah.
Some said, well, on the everyday board, I don't know that I'd want to serve on that, so.
I think we need to discuss a couple more things about this before we kind of put this in motion. That would be one of the things that we maybe
Needs to
get
be
that out,
clarified.
clear that out, and maybe term limits on these people
Probably.
as far as,
Mr. Chairman, we won't need this board here until either our animal shelters up and running. And I've had a lot of questions about this. I've had people ask me if these people was gonna be part of the ones that are and stuff like that. And I didn't know how to answer the questions. Exactly what is this, the animal control board, what are they gonna do? What is gonna be their job?
Well, let's answer that. Maybe bring it back up in our work section. That's fine with you guys. So
That's fine.
That'd be
My
better
thought
to
was
table
it
it.
was supposed to be an advisory board.
Yeah,
And that's all, so, but I guess apparently there's a lot of questions to it, so
let's get them answered before we make any decisions. If that's fine with y'all. So I'll make a motion that we table this.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. That's unanimous. The minutes, August 6th work session, August 20th regular session.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, we pass both August 6th work session, August 20th regular session minutes.
Have a motion second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Any new business?
We have a couple of things. We had someone call and ask about an EMS discount if they were uninsured and they were willing to pay their full bill. We do not have anything like that. Of course, we have a billing service that does all of our EMS billing. So we haven't even consulted with them because I think it's something that would have to be agreed upon around and in this room that we would be as a county, because this money comes to us, be willing to offer that discount. So it would be, it's just kind of food for thought. Is this something we want to look at? Do we want to look and see if other EMS services do this? Do they offer these kind of discounts? And it would be more for an uninsured person that would be able to pay their bill up front, which may or may not be even realistic in this day and age sometimes.
If I may comment, Mr. Chair, that there's some folks out there who qualify for that. And I know from experience dealing with hospitals and so on, that some of them will offer you a lesser amount to pay if you'll pay now. But if you pay later, they expect full payment. You know, for if you have to pay payments on it, you know, they want full amount. It might be something to mull on and think about till the next work session and try to discuss that
Yeah, I think-
again too. And I know we're putting a lot of stuff off. The next work session is going to be loaded and probably be lengthy, but that's just for my personal. There's some people who don't have insurance. They can't afford what they're paying, but yet maybe like this circumstance here where they're able to pay if there was any kind of a break, you know, and I don't know what to set that at or what to suggest that to be.
I think it could work, but it has to follow some kind of policy and procedure so
It
everybody's
would.
treated the same.
Fairly,
Yeah.
right?
So we'd have to set that up and maybe have a board or a panel that it goes before to,
Well, that would be the
Right.
first question, I guess.
Yeah.
The legalities of it.
yeah. May not be, yeah.
Where I had that incident from was a hospital itself. You know, if payment could be made, they're a different animal, and I realize that.
I agree.
So I guess we need to find out whether or not that's legal to do.
Could we ask Lottie to do a little investigating on that for
Yeah.
us and report back to us or send us out information she finds out?
Great.
It'd be helpful.
And the only other new business you had sitting on your table when you came in was the nomination appointment form for the Health and Human Services Advisory Board. So this was originally done in June for July 1. This is a specific type of board. So there's so many community members. You have to have a doctor, a nurse, physician, dentist, those sort of things. So we had an RN. We ran the ad originally in, you know, for the June board stuff. We finally had one person come forward. She's taken a new job and doesn't feel that she can sit on this board or do the commitment for the board. So we had another RN that was willing to do that. So we can't, I know that it's a first that you've seen this, so if we need to, table it and talk about it more, or if you want us to put something formal out, we did not for this because we had before and we didn't have any responses except for the one last year. So I don't know if you want to try to move forward with this appointment tonight, or if we want to do something further.
What do you guys think?
I do know this person, and she is a registered nurse and would qualify and has worked for the county health department. So,
And we have nobody in this position right now at all, right?
No, because the other person's basically just stepped out of it.
And they're having a meeting here pretty soon, right?
In October.
Yeah.
Advertise this.
We did the first time in the springtime for the appointment that would have been for July 1, effective July 1. And that's when we got the one response, but we didn't for this when she stepped down. And this position that she's filling is the RN. You have to be an RN in order to fill this position on the board. She's not filling as a community member, it's as an RN.
I'm fine with putting her in this position. I don't know that you're gonna get anybody else to put in for her. But since it's a voluntary board.
These appointments are for how long, Audie? Do you know the appointment?
I think are they 3 years?
3 years. If this is our only, unless you want to try to do the applications again, if this is our only applicant or only thing we received, I've got no issue with it. I mean, just whether we want to put it off again or kick something else down the road.
And the only issue that brings up is that part of the board would be vacant for their next meeting. Because by the time we run it and get everything through and back to the regular session again to vote, it would put it off. I don't know that it affects it in any way, but that's what that would mean for them as a board.
Hey guys, Bill, what do you think?
Mr. Chairman, how would it look if we just appoint her and we don't put it out there as being an open position? As far as looks, it won't look good on us. I mean, the other one didn't stay on, but she appointed her.
In July, well, June for July. And they didn't even have a meeting. It was just, she had taken the other job. So it was a time commitment issue.
I think all of our appointments and stuff needs to be in public paper, public's eye, so they know a little bit about what's going on. That way they don't think we're just wanting to do what we want.
How long do we have to run it for?
We could run it for 2 weeks in order to get enough time to have.
That put us back to our
any-
work session?
Yes.
And that should help if we do that. Let's just do that.
Okay.
And that way we can, on a work session, we'll just vote for it on a work session.
Yeah, if, I'm good, I'm very good with that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And we'll have, normally we have tried to not have voting items on work session, but some of these, if we know ahead of time that we're gonna vote on some of these at the work session, that would be,
So
some, especially time sensitive issues.
Yeah, let's go ahead and run it. Then
I agree with
if
that.
we get somebody else, then we'll know by then. And then they should be able to make the meeting in October.
That sounds good.
Any more new business? Any closed session? No. Saying that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Any second?
second.
All in favor? Ryan? Pass it. Thank you, guys. Where's one thing here?